You're back. You're back. Sorry. You're back. Sorry, my bad. Everyone, I'm sorry.
Okay. So then we have the second type of cell injury that will be.
So, Zakia, let me make sure I understand this. So you were talking about the impaired calcium pump.
Yes.
So if I remember correctly, because we talked about this yesterday.
Yes.
The calcium pump, that calcium is normally an extracellular.
Yes.
Extracellular cation, and what you're saying is when the calcium pump is damaged or it's impaired, that calcium is leaking inside the cells, changing the chemistry, and then those cells start to die, and then we get the tsunami wave of death.
Yeah. So the reason why is activating other enzymes inside the cell. That's why.
Okay. That's what's going on. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. I read this after we talked about it. I spent a second looking at this, and I didn't think we covered it all when we talked about it. I just want to make sure I understood it correctly.
Yep.
Okay.
So the second reason that we need to talk about is the hypoxia. Anybody has any idea why hypoxia will destroy our cell? We have hypoxic cell.
Addison, you know why this works, don't you? Hypoxia.
Well, it's a lack of oxygen.
So if there's a lack of oxygen, what's going on then? What's going to happen?
The cells aren't sufficient oxygen, so then they would die.
So where I'm going with this.
So here,
as acid base. So if there's an elevated level of CO2, what's going on? What way are we going if there's an elevated level of CO2? Are we acidic or basic?
Oh, okay.
You know where I'm going now?
So let's think.
I
need to go over my.
Okay, so I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm done. Sorry, I kind of was prompting Addison because she and I talked about this like 2 days ago.
Okay, so the cellular oxygen deprivation that will cause the cell to be. If there is no oxygen, there is no activation of enzymes in the cell, so cell cannot function without oxygen, and that will that will cause like brain damage, heart disease, your kidneys. Okay.
All sorts of things.
Okay. Yep. Is that answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Great. Okay. Now
next with free radical.
Yep. Now the free radical. So the free radical, we have this highly reactive chemical molecules with unpaired electron in their outer orbit. So that will cause cell damage and cancer. Why?
I don't know. I don't really understand what a free radical is. Is it just kind of like a?
It's a free cations that will like just mumble in your blood and that need to be taken off. So if that is still elevated there, that will cause activation of other enzymes, and that will cause the cell to be burst.
So if I can jump in, Allison, have you taken chemistry 1110 or 1120?
Yeah.
So a free radical is a free-floating, non-bonded hydrogen ion. So when you have H pluses, so if we have excess H pluses, we go acidic, right? We go lower on the periodic table.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have free radicals are unpaired hydrogen ions that are floating around trying to find another molecule to bond to. And when they do that, they jump from molecule to molecule. And as they do that, they cause damage to the molecules they attach to, and they unattach to freely. And they call it free radical damage. And it's similar to like radiation damage because it translates through a particular system as those free radicals jump. As more and more free hydrogens are available and we go more and more acidic, that continues to degrade until you die.
So these are these just like naturally in your body?
So we're going to have a few natural free radicals, right? That's just generally speaking, because there's chemical reactions happening in our body. The problem is that our body has a normal range of 7.35 to 7.45 on the periodic table. And that's more basic. We're more basic at 7.35 because 7 is neutral. And then anything below 7 is acidic. So what's happening is as we build up hydrogen ions, we're getting closer to the acidic side. And like he said, then we start to activate different enzymes and we start to break down proteins. Our proteins start to denature and the body's systems start to not be able to function.
Okay. So it's like an example, if we have a lot of hydrogen ions in our kidneys, what that leads us to? That's considered as a free radical. When we have high concentration of the hydrogen ions, what's that would cause?
Is it acidosis?
Yes. So hydrogen ions there is a free radical.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a byproduct, and elevation of that will cause problem.
Okay.
Does
Now
that
I
make sense?
see it.
I don't know why you went to chemistry, Chris. Why? But
What
anyway,
was that?
that's
Yeah.
So what happens is there's a couple of different ways you can get free radicals. You can get
Yes.
free radicals from incomplete chemical reactions. So incomplete chemical reactions can cause free hydrogens to not bond. You can also get free radicals from radiation. So if you're exposed to like an X-ray machine, the radiation will cut through your cells and it blasts free hydrogens off of existing molecules, and then they're free.
Huh.
And then the other way that you can get it is they can physically get pulled off. So if there are physical forces, sometimes that'll blow free radicals off of cells when it's shock. The shock to the molecule is so strong, it will blow off a free hydrogen. And now you have free hydrogens floating in your system, and your body has to do things to actually to remove them, right? So we need to pee them out. That's really what it comes down to. They flow downstream to the kidneys. When there's an excess of hydrogen, your body, or an excess of acid, if you will, your body binds it to urine, and then it goes out to the urine through micturition or through peeing, through urination.
Okay.
Ashley, is that a little bit easier to understand? Just remember that free radicals are unbonded hydrogen ions, and they move through the system trying to find a home. Hydrogens want to find a home, and if they don't find it, they'll start bonding to anything that they can. And when they do that, it damages other cells cellularly, and it just makes the problem worse until the body purges them through urination.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the Reader's Digest version. Without going into 1120 bioorganic chemistry, that'll get you through NCLEX and nursing.
Yeah.
Is that a nice way to say that?
No, sounds good.
Okay, I'll shut up and let's move on.
Okay, Chris, would you respond to that text message that I sent you? For Cassandra, she wanna be in the group too.
Yeah, if she sends her email, okay, hold on.
Yeah, so I told her to send me her email, but she didn't send me yet. I'm calling
her on the phone right now.
Yeah, call her. Okay. Okay, let's go to cell damage by aging. So the only one that we have in our outline is the telomeres, and we call it the replicative senescence. What's one of the signs and symptoms of cellular aging? Anybody know? Okay, so telomeres is the replication. So this is in our DNA. So whatever that the cell does need, like we need new cells, like liver cells, kidney cells. The telomeres will like.
Are they the ends of the chromosome? Is that
yes, yes, the end of chromosomes. So when we go to the state that no more replication happen, that's mean that the cell will die. That's how it's like stating aging, because what that would cause, one, like we lose elasticity of the GI of our heart arteries. We lose decrease bowel movement, decrease. Let's see.
So telomeres is on page 2 of 1 alpha.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. Telomeres is on page 1A or page 2 of the 1A unit of the notes if you have them in front of you.
So we decrease bowel motility, and then loss of muscle mass, loss of subcutaneous fat. It's just aging signs and symptoms. So the only thing that we need to know about this is just like the end of the chromosome, that when they stop, everything dies. So I don't think that there is anything else that we need to know about telomeres. Let's see. Yeah, that's the only thing in our outline that we need to know about. Then the third one that is kind of like is differentiated, the differentiation of cells. So we have, that's a definition, I think it's the top of our outline. So we have 3 types actually. we have change in the cell by size, and change in the cells by number, and then change in the cell by type.
This is absolute genius, by the way. Just want you to know that. This is genius. I love how you did this.
They just put it like as like one stack, but she didn't like very differentiate in our outline. So what's related to the size of the cell will be the hypertrophy. This means like we have too many cells. And then
sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm emailing your girlfriend.
Okay.
Ignore what I'm doing. Okay. We're all still friends.
Wait, so question. I thought that hypertrophy was when the cells were increased in their size. Is that correct?
Yes. What I did say.
I thought you said like maybe I'm getting it confused with the hyperplasia. Yeah, so hyperplasia is no. You're right. You're right. So I put even plus sign there, but I forgot. So the hypertrophy is increase in size. So the cell will be the same, but it's increasing in size. Okay.
Yeah. Atrophy will be decrease in size. Okay, so those are the only two that related to size according to cells. Okay, I totally lost my slide, Chris.
Hold on, I'm inviting your girl Cassie. Okay, wait. Hold on. We're coming. We're going down range. Here it comes. You guys get to see me rapidly moving through. Okay, have a nice day. We're back. There we go.
Okay, so then we have differentiate the change in number, and the change in number we just have one is the hyperplasia.
Okay,
so we have a lot. Like example for that will be the benign prostate hyperplasia. Okay, so it's the cells of the prostate will just increase in numbers. So that's an example of hyperplasia. And then we have change in type. That will be, we have two of this. We have metaplasia and dysplasia. Okay. So one is harmful and one is non-harmful. Why?
Well,
so like metaplasia will be example like a callus that we have. So when you like do like, let's see, somebody's like weightlifting. So if they use their hands, that you will notice that they have calluses here because of the pressure that they have. So that will be a metaplasia. So this is like a cells, there will be scan cells, but it's like, it's just have a different, what they call that.
So in metaplasia, the cells are adapted to stress. The cells are adapted to stress on that cell. The cells themselves have not changed. They're still the same cells. So what's the difference? So what would happen to dysplasia? When we talk about dysplasia, what are we actually talking about? The C word is what we're talking about.
Cancer.
We're talking about cancer. Metaplasia, I can get calluses on my hands and feet because I work with my hands and I walk all the time, right? Those are not cancer cells. They're stress-induced cells. So my body's repairing and giving me hard tissue to just deal with the stress that I'm providing to them. Yay. How awesome is that?
Okay. So this is the only thing that I see that if I forgot anything, let me know. From the differentiation of cells.
We're following your brain map. Just keep going.
Okay, great. So let's see. So this is the thing that I don't want to like mix them together, but even though they have us to learn it, is the differentiation of T cells and B cells. And what I have here is just I break down that to, let's see.
So we're on page number 4 of the notes, correct?
Yep, the lymphocytes, we have the T cells and the B cells. I think the important thing that about the B cells is they produce the antibodies, and that will be from the bone marrow. Just a second, let me open this door.
You guys care if I just keep going without her? I keep us going.
No, I didn't call.
Addison, you okay with that? Ashley, you all right with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so listen. So you guys remember from lymphocytes, right? So what do T cells do and what do B cells do?
Wait.
Oh, so okay. We still like you, Zakia. We're all still friends. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna screw around with this for a second.
Don't T cells like present the antigen?
So T cells are the fighters and B cells are the memory. T cells support B cells by being the memory of the fighting system. And so both sides are diminished if one is gone. So if T cells are not present, the long-term immune system can't provide an active defense. There are no fighters. They're the soldiers, they're the foot soldiers, and the B cells are the generals. They're the ones that remember the enemy, and they know the enemy's strengths and weaknesses, and they provide antibodies. They're the ones that secrete the antibodies, and they provide memory through the T cells after the battle's over. Is that kind of a quick update for you guys?
Yeah.
Police was here at work.
The police?
Yeah.
Yes,
Somebody called for a student in the roof. I'm in the school.
Oh, okay. Stop breaking the law. We need you to be part of the study group.
I didn't call anybody. Okay. Where I was.
We're good. Just go T cells and B cells. Go.
Yeah, so we have T cells. We have 4 types that we need to know about. So we have helper T cells. What helper T cells do? They activate T cells and B cells. Okay, so they're the activation and activation when like we have an infection or so. So the T cells, like the T helper cells, will help activating those T cells.
They kick the lymphocytes into high gear.
Yep.
They're like high speed. They're like gas pedal. Bam! Yep. Those guys start going, and everything just it's like crazy time. It's like let's kill some antigens. Let's kill them.
Okay, so we have killer T cells. What the killer T cells do? Those are the one who will kill the infected cells, but like bacterial or viral infected cells. They just like kill the infected cells in our body.
How do they kill the antigens in the body?
What's that?
Killer T cells. What's the process by which killer T cells kill antigens?
So let's see. Let's imagine that we have acute infection, and then what's the first thing that will happen? We will have vasodilation. The neighbors. The first fighter will be there is the neutrophils.
Yep, so neutrophils kick in, right?
Yes, so they will kick in, and then they will release the cytokinase to recruit for the white blood cells to be activated and come to the site of the infection. Yeah, that's the only thing that I know.
Yeah, just that your neutrophils start fighting.
Yeah,
if they can't completely kill the infection, then they send for help. They say, hey, they submit those cytokines, and those cytokines go to the long-term immune system, the T and B cells, and say, hey, listen, we're getting our asses kicked. We can't stop whatever this is. So the T and B cells, okay, listen, we're gonna go help these guys out. So the thymus starts kicking out T cell production, and then B cells start getting secreted, and they start to move to the infection site. And B cells start to do the investigation. They start to say, what the hell is this stuff? And the T cells start to kick some ass. So killer T cells start to kill the antigens that are present through phagocytosis. They surround them, and they start killing them through phagocytosis. Then your natural killer cells start to look for parent cells, our cells that have been invaded or destroyed. And they go, hey, man, we got cellular debris out here. They're kind of like the garbage trucks, right? They start picking up the garbage from our system and say, we got damaged cells. We got cells that are infected out here that are ours. And they start taking care of that junk. So the T cells start to kill the antigen part from its foreign, and natural killer cells start to kill the debris that's from us. They start looking for our cells that are damaged and destroyed, and they start taking care of those. And then suppressor T cells. Yeah.
So natural killer cells, they are very specific. They attack the cancer cells.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but they're looking for cellular. They're looking for cancer cells are our cells that are out of control.
So that's the only thing that I want to add is natural killer. Even though the vagocytosis thing, that I think that is just confusing people. Like I don't know if like it's not really related to what we're supposed to study. They just like need to know the NKs, the natural killer cells will be for the cancer cells that we need to know. The suppressed T cells, they are the regulator. They bring everything back.
They turn it off, right?
Yes, they turn off everything. So think about person who will lack suppressed T cells.
Addison, CD4, CD8.
Sorry, say that one more time, Zakia.
She's talking about CD4s and CD8. Who has suppressed T cells?
So somebody who who will lack the suppressed T cells. We would think that he will lack the suppressed T cells. Like the autoimmune patients, they don't have that because their infections goes in a cycle and never stop.
Yeah.
So they will lack this. NK cells, also the cancer cells, they are like specifically for cancer. That will come like that in a question. Killer T cells will go over what Chris said about the vagocytosis. Yep. That's all that we need to know about this.
Okay.
Yep.
Keep going.
Let's see. We need to know that T cells, where the T cells will be produced. The thymus for the T cells, and B cells will be in the bone marrow. We're good about that?
Yep.
Okay.
Wait, aren't the T cells, don't they mature in the thymus, but they're not made there? Or am I?
Yeah, they're made in
the thymus. Yes.
Go to school in the thymus.
Yep. And then B cells is like is from the lymphocytes also, but lymphocytes in the bone marrow. All good about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's see where we should go. Okay, which cells that will have a role in our inflammation cycle? Endothelial cells, platelets, and leukocytes. Okay, so endothelial cells will be responsible about the vasodilation of our blood, what's that called? Blood what?
So what I'm sorry, what are you asking again?
So if like we have a question about like the inflammation cells, like which cells that will be included in the inflammation cycle? We have 3 cells: the endothelial cells, platelets, leukocytes.
Yep.
Okay? Platelets, they are responsible for the clotting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Endothelial cells, they are responsible about the vasodilation in our where's my sheet? Endothelial cells. What endothelial cells do? Yeah, they are responsible about vasodilation or vasoconstricted of our blood vessels. Okay. Platelets will be responsible about clotting. Leukocytes, the thing that we need to know about is, let's see, if we had the acute phase and elevated bacterial, we will have the granulocyte will be involved. If we have like viral infection, we will have our lymphocytes will be intervene with this. So this is the thing that we need to know. Any questions?
No.
Everybody good? Hey, yeah. Zakia, do you want to? Is it okay if we switch gears and go to Unit 11?
Yeah.
We've been on for about a half an hour.
Yeah, and then I will add the fever one and put it like.
Yeah. And that'll give you a little more time to add the rest of your stuff together. And then Addison, I'm going to put on Unit 11. Will you go through Unit 11 that we did today? Can you run that one?
I actually, I'm leaving to Bear Lake in like 5 minutes.
You suck. No, I'm teasing. Okay. So that's okay. No, you're fine. Go have fun.
but I can stay on until my ride gets here. So
yeah, I'm gonna put it up right now.
Okay, I can do it until she gets here then.
Okay, then I'm gonna put. Oh shit! I mean, shoot. There it is. Download. Bring this bad boy up, guys. Okay. And hold on, it didn't. It's doing this far, but stop sharing. Click. 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 Hold on. There it is. Okay. Here we go.
Did you add Cassandra though? Is Cassandra there?
I'm having a hard time getting her on. I'm trying to do two things at once. Again, this is technical. I'm having a hard time getting her on.
Oh, okay.
So I might have to get with her after to see how to get her on, and we're just gonna have to deal with it for right now.
Okay.
Okay. There. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk to her.
Yeah, no. You and I are both trying to work with her, and it's technical. Okay. Here we go. Addison.
Okay.
There. Go through the definitions with the group. I want you to definitely go through the definition roots with the group so everybody hears it again.
Okay. I'm kind of having a hard time reading them in the corner because they're tiny. But
yeah.
How's that?
Oh, you removed it, Chris.
Go back to it.
Hold on. Give me a sec, dude. I downloaded some freaking software. Okay, hold on. Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Yeah, me too.
Hold on, ladies. I downloaded some dang software and it's screwing my shiz up. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. I'm screwing this up, and it's again. We were just talking about technical crap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is technical. This is the part of this that I don't do this all the time, and I'm not some kind of Big Bang Theory geek, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on, guys. Give me a second, and I'll bring this up. Okay, let me get this up. That's the application window that I want. Okay, now I'm seeing it with you. I'm going to make it big. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay.
Okay, so number 1 is amenorrhea. And if you kind of look at the word, you can see, and then you don't really have to know the technical definition of it. So A means absent. Meno means menstruation.
Mm-hmm.
And then rhea means the flow, basically. So it's an absence in the menstruational flow. And that's what that definition means.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see the next word, but
dysmenorrhea.
Okay. Dysmenorrhea is the so if you say dys, it's painful, right?
Yep.
Okay, so then it would be painful menstruation.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so then dys is also painful, so dyspareunia.
It was good, Chris, but you just messed it up again.
Oh, damn it. There.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
That's better.
Okay.
Keep going. Sorry, Ashton.
You're good. Okay, so dyspareunia, whatever, how you ever say that. So means painful.
Yep.
and it's painful sexual intercourse. For that one. Okay, so then number 4, meno.
Yeah.
That one is
I'm in a group study until 6.
Okay, so meno again means menstruation. So metro is abnormal.
Oh yeah, abnormal different.
Yeah. Okay, so it's abnormally heavy bleeding at irregular.
Okay.
So, Addison, hold on for 1 second. So, Ashley, can you hear me? Can you answer?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So what we're doing is we're breaking these words up. Instead of trying to just memorize stuff, just rote definitions, we're breaking the words down into their medical terminology, into their Greek and Latin roots. So meno means menstruation. Rhea, R-R-H-E-A.
My rights here.
Okay, see, Addison. Rhea means flow. That, like, the English definition is flow. So A is absent. So the first one, absent menstrual flow. Okay, ragia, R-R-H-A-G-A, means to bleed, like bleeding. So if you had menorrhagia, you'd have menstrual bleeding.
Raging blood.
Yeah. Okay, and then so that if you know the Latin and Greek roots, you can pull the words apart and get the definitions without trying to memorize just a bunch of rote crap. Okay. So if you know metro is abnormal. So number 4 that Addison was just going through, meno, menstruation, metro, abnormal, ragia, bleeding, abnormal menstrual bleeding.
Got it.
And then, so number 5, will you break down number 5 for us?
So menopause. So basically pausing menstruation.
Yeah. Menstrual pause, menstrual stop. And that's old lady stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Will you take number 6?
Menorrhagia. I forgot what ragia.
So what's the first piece?
Heavy.
So that's meno, right? Meno is menstruation. And ragia is to bleed. That's menstrual bleeding.
So heavy.
That's not heavy. That's just normal menstrual bleeding, okay?
Okay.
Because poly means many or too much, right? You have to have a tag with it. So look at number 7. Look at number 7. Break number 7 down and tell us what that one means.
Metro. So abnormal. Ragia.
So look at number 4 and look at number 7 and tell me the difference between those two. What tag is not there?
Heavy.
Not heavy. Metro. Abnormal. So metro's in both. Abnormal bleeding is the root to both of those. One has menstrual and one does not. Can you have bleeding from your uterus and have it not be related to menstruation?
Yeah.
What kind of bleeding would that? If you had bleeding from your uterus through the vaginal canal that was not menstrual related, what kind of bleeding would that be?
Injury or child
gunshot wound, right? Like, hey, you got hit to the stomach in a car accident. You're not menstruating. You're just bleeding through there. So that meno tag. So in metrorrhagia, it's just bleeding through the vaginal canal or through the uterus. That's not related to menstruation. It's trauma based, most likely, or it could be infection based. Anything that's going to break down that. But so amenorrhea, or what about amenorrhagia? What if you had amenorrhagia? That's not one of the ones up here, but could you have amenorrhagia?
I mean, I guess it would be like stopping of.
That'd be lack of menstrual bleeding, none, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how those tags work. And so without memorizing a bunch of crap, you can pull the definition apart just by knowing the medical terminology. And we spent a lot of time yesterday going through this, pulling these apart. So you're not just spending the 20 minutes with the definitions, reading them 5 times and still not knowing them. You just look at them, pull the tags apart and know them. So look at number 9 and pull 9 apart for me.
So many menstrual Rhea
is flow. So you have a too many menstrual flows. So the normal cycle for most women is 21 to 28 days. Mm-hmm. This particular individual is having menstruation every 14 days. They're having it too often. They're menstruating too often. They're going through their cycle too fast. Do you know what oligo means? Oligomenorrhea.
Is oligo to stop or no?
Too long. It means too long. It means in front of or too long. So this particular lady or female individual has menstrual cycles that can be absent for 50 to 60 days at a time. They're 2 and 3 times too long having menstruation. So who would be someone who'd have a menstrual cycle that was stunted, that was too long? What kind of person would have that?
Cervical cancer.
Cervical cancer, but there's another non-damage. Hey, guess what? How many gymnasts do you know at the University of Utah on the gymnastics team who have a normal menstrual flow?
Probably.
They don't menstruate at all. Their body fat's too low, and their body recognizes that they're athletes and says this is totally inappropriate for them to be menstruating and being trying to bear a child when their body's not in condition. Their body's conditioned to do gymnastics, not to have kids. And so the body shuts those processes down. Or another one, malnutrition. How many ladies in the refugee camp out in Syria do you think are menstruating right now? This is probably shutting off because they're all really hungry. They're not getting the nutrition they need. Their body starts to put them in oligomenorrhea because it starts to extend it out because they're just not healthy enough to bear a child and carry it for 9 months. Your body kind of knows that, and it starts to shut this down. And those aren't disease processes. They're just a response to the environment you created for it. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ashley, that was just for you. You can put just back on mute if you want for your family and stuff. But just the way that we're learning those definitions is we're going back to our Latin and Greek roots, and we're just pulling them apart. The key ones are rhea is flow, regia is to bleed or bleeding, and metro is abnormal. Okay, those are the big ones in there that the majority of those have those on them that throws them and makes them really weird. Are we cool?
Cool.
We all still friends?
Yep.
Okay, so I updated this, Sakia, so you can see it. How did I update this? The last time what was that?
Let me see. I cannot see it.
You can't see it right now?
Nope.
Can you see it now?
Okay, yeah.
So the piece that I added was menstruation now is its own tag, and it holds all those ones together.
Okay, yeah, I
that
can
one
see.
I didn't have there before. So the major pieces of the female system and the female reproductive system, the main topics are menstruation, female infection and inflammation, and female cancer. Those are the major ideas in here, and then the words that are attached to it deal specifically with that. So let's go up to menstruation. We already hit the definitions and we beat that to death. So premenstrual syndrome. Who wants to take on premenstrual syndrome? I'm hoping that both of you ladies know what premenstrual syndrome is, and I don't have to explain it to you because I'm a guy.
Thank you. You can move on.
Okay, we can move on. Menopause. I'm hoping that we don't have to explain that one. That's just older women who have stopped menstruating. And remember, in menopause, the key thing is hormonal changes. It's a hormone change that's causing that to happen.
It says something about like follicles in the outline.
For which one?
For menopause.
Yeah. So what's happening is at the hypothalamus and the pituitary. The hypothalamus stops producing. Well, the female system becomes resistant to LH and FSH, luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone from the pituitary. And so negative feedback tells the hypothalamus to stop producing gonadotropin releasing hormone. Okay. And then at the tissue level, at the ovary and the uterus level, the female body stops responding to LH and FSH, which stops the process of ovulation. So if females still have eggs in their ovaries, they won't develop and start to ovulate. That process stops because your ovaries become resistant to the LH hormone that allows ovulation to start. So menopause, just remember, it's hormones. Hormones causes ovulation to start, and hormones causes ovulation to end, either through menstruation, which is to excrete the cell, the egg and the uterine lining, or you get pregnant, and the pregnancy causes the hormones to change, and that changes the hormone cycle, which causes you guys to go full term and deliver a baby. All the menstruation stuff is all driven by hormones. Hormones is a huge piece of this. I don't know where Zakiya went, but Ashley, do you want me just to keep going?
Yeah, that's fine.
You want to go over? Do you know ovarian cyst? Do you want to go over that one?
Sure.
Okay, you tell me what a ovarian cyst is.
It's literally a cyst on your ovaries, and it's painful as hell.
Thank you. I'm not a woman, so I don't know how painful this is. But what I've done, Ashley, for these, is I've tried to memorize one-liners, like one main idea. So ovarian cyst, what I remember from this one, ovarian cyst is where the egg itself, during ovulation, the fluid sac around the maturing egg in the ovary becomes filled with fluid, and it does not allow that egg to be released. And so your ovary retains that cyst, or that developed egg, and so throughout the rest of the menstrual cycle, that egg stays on the ovary as a big ball full of fluid.
Mm-hmm.
And it says in the book, in the book and in the notes, it talked about how where most of the time as a female, your body recognizes an ovarian cyst and it destroys that cyst on its own. There's not necessarily need for an intervention on the part of healthcare just to provide support to a lady going through it.
Yep.
So I just remember that big, fat, massive sack of tissue around a cell.
Yeah, so it basically gets released at the wrong time, and then the ovary kind of like sucks it back in a way, and then
it destroys it and sends it and gets rid of it.
Yeah. And then if it becomes too much of an issue, then you'll need like surgery.
Yeah, they can remove the cyst surgically, or they'll provide like NSAIDs, like non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, and that apparently helps as well.
I literally had one burst one time, and they gave me morphine.
Did it feel good?
Like, I wish I could be on morphine every day now, but...
And now you know why we're trying to legalize marijuana.
I know.
Because people get on it and they don't want it. I mean, it feels opium's awesome, man.
Right? That was the first time I ever had morphine. I was like, whoa, what is the street name for this stuff? But,
you know what the street name for that is? Beautiful.
Heroin?
No, I'm being smart. It's called Beautiful.
Yes.
It's called Who Needs a Man? I Don't Want to Breathe.
Yes. They almost locked me in the building, so I need to leave.
Okay, you're fine. You taking off?
Yes, I'm taking off.
Okay, finish your slide deck, and we'll get on a different day.
Okay.
Okay, Ashley, let's do this, Ashley. Let's finish menstruation, and then you and I can decide if you want to stay on longer and keep going, or we can decide to jump ship, whatever you want to do, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so the next one in that one after ovarian cyst is polycystic ovarian syndrome. Do you know anything about that one?
Isn't that the one that causes no, is that different from PCOS, or is that the same thing?
PCOS is
that's probably the next one.
Yeah, so okay, the way that I remember polycystic ovarian syndrome is I look at the name, right? So we just talked about an ovarian cyst, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Polycystic ovary syndrome has the same roots as ovarian cyst, but it has the term poly with it, right? Which means multiple. So in this one here, the way that I remember this, I remember that what's really trying to happen here is the body, your female system, is actually trying to mature multiple eggs at the same time. So, and the way that happens is that LH, the luteinizing hormone, is elevated. Your pituitary is secreting too much of it. And so anytime there's an excess, that excess LH is just looking for cells to bind to, right? It doesn't get to the ovary and say, hey, one is good. It just says, hey, man, I got more LH. I'm going to try to activate more ovaries, or I mean more more ovum. I'm going to try to get more eggs to develop. And so what happens in polycystic, that excess LH starts to mature maybe 9, 10 different eggs in your ovary all at the same time. And that aggravated response then now allows none of those cells to be secreted. None of them can really reach full maturity and be ovulated because those hormones are out of whack, and you've got multiple ovum trying to, multiple eggs trying to be ovulated and secreted into the fallopian tubes into the uterus, right? So that's what's going on. So it's just unbalanced hormones lead to ovulation and the menstrual irregularities that causes multiple eggs to be brought up and to get ready to go get fertilized to have a baby, and then what happens is the lack of progesterone in the system. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is one of the big ones that leads this process, because you're activating so many eggs at one time. It leads to infertility. If this goes on too long, as a woman, you only have so many eggs to start with, right? So if you're supposed to ovulate 1 every month and you start ovulating 10 every month, that's just a math problem, right? At that point, you're just ovulating too many at a time, and then over time, you're just going to lose the ability to have kids. You're going to lose the ability to ovulate and secrete an egg. Okay. The other crazy thing about this one is I also remember this one as a woman starts to look like a man. Yeah. The LH causes male hormones to be secreted in a woman. So men like male hair on a woman's body. Like you start to develop dark matty hair on your arms, dead ringer that you got polycystic ovarian syndrome going on.
Yeah, sounds awful.
And there's an insulin resistance piece. So women start to develop type 2 diabetes symptoms because of this as well. That LH hormone in the body and those male hormones cause the female system to become resistant to insulin. And then obviously you just have irregular menstrual cycles. Your menstrual cycle is going to be all blown to pieces.
Yeah.
Okay, endometriosis. Do you want to talk about this one?
That is the buildup of scar tissue.
Yeah, it has to do with the fact that uterine tissue finds its way on the ovaries and on the intestines and the bladder. And when the hormones come in to activate the uterus for childbearing or for menstruation, again, the hormones don't know that the tissue isn't supposed to be in the uterus. So if that tissue is on the bladder, what starts to happen to that tissue?
If it's supposed to be.
If I have uterine tissue on my bladder as a woman, well, what's the uterus try to do during menstruation, during egg development? What's it trying to do?
During egg development?
Well, yeah, when at the beginning of that menstrual cycle, you ladies are starting to develop that blood wall in that environment that's conducive for fertilization and for child development in your uterus. So if that's other places, you're going to get that blood wall, that blood and tissue wall on the bladder that's not in the uterus. It's going to start to develop that lining, just like the uterus does on the inside. But now it's on your bladder. Now it's on the outside of your ovaries. Now it's on your intestines. Is that a good thing?
Hell no.
No, it's bad because when you start to menstruate, when there's no fertilization, you guys go through menstruation, you slough off that lining and that unfertilized egg, and up through the process of menstruation, it's excreted out of the body to the vaginal canal, out to the outside, and you guys just get rid of it, right? It's just gone at that point. It's in the environment, and it becomes refuse. Well, if that's on your bladder and your ovaries and your intestines, where's that blood wall barrier sloughing off to?
Somewhere it shouldn't be.
Yeah, now it's in the extrastitial fluid and the abdominal space inside your body. Well, when you have blood that's floating in the body somewhere, what does it want to do? When blood's just in the body somewhere, what does it like to do?
I don't know. It hurts really bad.
It wants to coagulate. That blood wants to become a blood clot in your interstitial fluid, and then that causes an immune response because it's foreign, right? That's a place for infection to go. Those blood clots in that tissue is a place for infection to go. And so you start to elicit an immune response to those places. And that's where that associated pain and abdominal discomfort come from that you just made reference to.
Yes.
Was that kind of a long but a pretty detailed definition of endometriosis?
Yep.
Endometriosis, I kind of was reading into this today, and that one there is literally the most fascinating one to me. That was crazy when I was reading that. I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I didn't realize it could like go to other parts of your body, kind of.
Yeah, that tissue, well, it's like infantile, right? During child development, when you guys are growing up, that tissue, those embryonic stem cells get embedded into other tissues just by genetic deficiency, or they're in close association, they jump, right? And so now I've got a patch of uterine cells in my bladder if I'm a woman. Yeah. And yeah, of course, no kidding, this would be painful. Endometriosis, I think you just want to die.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, you'll hear me say this occasionally when we talk about female reproduction. I'm glad I'm a man, okay? I'm glad I'm a man. I freely concede to you ladies, man.
I don't know. I'm pretty freaked out about the prostate now, though. So.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you know what guys call the prostate injuries or prostate cancer? You know what guys call that?
No.
For a man, we call that the widowmaker, because you're no longer a man if your shooter stops working.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, is that a good way to say that without being rude or disgusting?
No, I get it.
The guy's shooter stopped working, he kind of isn't a dude anymore, and it's really debilitating. Emotionally, it's really hard for a guy to have that happen.
I could imagine.
Okay, so we're good on endometriosis.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so last one is leiomyoma. Now, this one's really interesting. There's one phrase in leiomyoma that's interesting. Can you pull that word apart and tell me what the different components are?
Leiomyoma?
Yeah. Or leiomyoma?
Leiomyoma.
When you hear the word myoma, what do you think?
I think of cancer, but I don't know if that's right.
Okay, so there are three terms for cancer or abnormal cell growth in the body. Myoma, and myoma by definition means benign tumor. It's still an out of control growth, but it's benign. It's one of those benign tumors. Sarcoma and carcinoma are the two that if you see those are benign malignant tumors.
Okay.
So that's I think so. If you had leiomyoma, right, the same term, Leo or lio with carcinoma next to it, what would you now know about it?
It's cancer.
That would be the bad malignant cancer. So it's just it's that medical terminology tag that tells us it's now malignant cancer. But in this case, it's just a fibrous growth. It's just a fibrous growth on the uterus. That's what that means. Leiomyoma is a fibrous benign growth on the uterus.
Okay. Where is that in the notes?
It's on page number 2, right at the very top. It's the very top one. It's called uterine fibroids. It's a benign growth in the muscular lining of the uterus, okay? And it just says it can be totally asymptomatic. You could have this and not even know it as a woman. And then it affects blacks and it affects Caucasians 30% of the time, and black and African Americans 50% of the time. And at age 50 is kind of the key thing with this one.
It'll decrease by age 50.
Yeah.
All right, I see.
And why would that decrease at age 50 with menopause?
Decrease with menopause.
When is the uterus active during your ovulation cycle? When is it most active?
I don't know.
Well, so when you guys have to menstruate and excrete and push out that uterine lining, those hormones are being activated and you're pushing that out. So if you have a fibrous growth on this muscle, and this muscle's never activated in menopause that way, it can't be aggravated, right? It just sits there. That growth sits on that muscle and nothing ever happens. But when that muscle's actively contracting, either through childbirth or through the menstruation cycle, of course it's gonna, if you have a growth there, that's a fibrous growth. That of course can be irritated as the muscle contracts, because this myoma, this particular capsule of abnormal growth, it's not going to respond like a muscle. It's going to be a benign tumor, and it's going to resist that contraction. That could be pretty painful.
Okay.
So the one that's similar in male reproduction.
It's not due to like hormones. It's more like there's nothing agitating it anymore because there's no longer menstruation going on.
Yep. And that's why one of the treatments is a hysterectomy for this.
Gotcha.
If myoma gets bad enough, you can remove it, right? If you do a hysterectomy and remove the uterus, well, you're physically removing that tumor. It's just gone now. And of course, it can't be aggravated if it's not in you anymore.
Yeah.
So that's that guy.
I don't even remember learning about that one in class, but we totally could have.
Yeah, no, we went over all these. But again, that's why the study group's so good, is because we can dig back into this and really understand these and kind of slow them down.
Yes.
Okay, so it is 6:06, and I'm trying to get the hell out of here.
Okay.
A little bit over time from what we were at, but we had a little bit of a hiccup with getting tech stuff, and I'm going to work on the tech stuff and get it a little bit cleaned up. But are you good? Do you feel like you got what you needed?
Yeah, I'm good.
Was that a good review?
Yeah, are you getting back on tonight or?
No, I was going to do a 9:30, but people just aren't active on a Friday night. I mean, let's be honest, you the family. I'm going to go with my friend tonight. Addison's going Bear Lake. The weekends are just harder because people want to be not doing homework.
Right.
So I'm just embracing that we're all busy, and that's life, right?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, well, I'll let you go.
Okay.
And we're going to be on tomorrow. We're going to do an in-person study group at 1:00 at the library. I'll send that invitation out to you. If you can't come, obviously, you have obligations, no problem. I'll still do it live like I'm doing now. You can get online and just follow it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.